next function of management that we want to consider is leading and leadership. Very essential if an organization will succeed. Here we want to look at leading and leadership, the difference between leadership and management, and then contemporary views of leadership, and then distinguish between power and leadership. Some people consider leadership to be the heart of management because it involves initiating action. Yes, we can have planning, organizing, but somebody must start something. If we have organized the structures very well, we have synchronized all the resources based on the plans that we have, and we don't start anything, we won't achieve anything. That is why leading is important in organizations. When we lead, we ensure that appropriate guidelines are issued to enable work to go on smoothly and harmoniously. What this means is that it is the leader who must provide the needed leadership, who must provide the needed supervision, who must provide the inspiration, who must start something before anything can happen. And so when we lead, we try to provide leadership. We try to supervise. We try to stimulate the people to take action. We try to create new things, even though the structures have been laid. As we have said, the structures are there already. The plans are there. But the environmental circumstances might not remain static. And so there's a need for the leader to provide that innovative leadership, or the kind of things that will make the organization exist or become new. Introduce new things that will make the organization more attractive, let me put it that way, to people, and then to inspire the people who are working with him. We have said that organizations use people to achieve results. So if you don't provide leadership, if you don't supervise, human beings want things easy. If you remember theories X and Y, theory X says that the average human being doesn't need to work, doesn't want to work. And so where there is supervision, you provide that kind of direction for the person to work, and you ensure that the person remains within the acceptable framework within which he or she must work. So leading, or the leading function, is very, very essential in organizations. Now, what is leadership? It is simply getting others to follow. See, when we provide leadership, it means that there are people who must follow us, who must be willing to do what we tell them to do. In organizing, we said there is authority, there is power. Yes, when you have power, it means that you are going to have people who you must instruct to work. That is leadership. Whether the power is used, is abused, or whatever, you command, you instruct people to work. That's why I said it's a process of getting others to follow, or to getting others to do things willingly, or so that they can do that, they will work and help you to achieve that whatever you want to achieve. And so every leader will want to focus on moving the people, and ensure that people in the organization are better off. In other words, they have the right skill, the right competencies, the right knowledge, the right ability, and the right characteristics that enables them to achieve results. The cooperation of teams, and to ensure that the people also who have been put into teams, the members will cooperate, or whether they are working individually, they will work as a team. None of them will see himself or herself as better or superior to the other. So once we work as a team, we achieve results for ourselves. Now, what are the steps to good leadership? You must lead by example. What it means is that you start, you initiate, and the people follow you. What we see in most places, the leader, an engineer, he will fold his arms, or the manager will sit in his cozy office, fold the arms, and then issue instructions to the field workers, to the other workers to go and work. In most cases, the best if you start, the people will begin to follow. The people will work with you. They identify with you and they work with you. And so the leaders must have ethical codes and must not compromise on them. What it means is that those things that you want the people to do, you must also do. You don't say that I am a leader, I am the leader, and so do as I say, but don't do what I do. That thing does not work anywhere. And again, you need to bring people on board to work with you. A leader, yes, you may not be able to do everything at the same time. And so once you have ensured your people are competent, you give them the chance to also exercise authority. Tell them what they must do and give them the chance to do what they're supposed to do. Give them some form of authority to exercise it whenever they want to exercise it, so that once they are working, they will know that they have a responsibility and they have a duty to execute. As a leader, don't think that you are superior. You need to welcome criticisms. You are not infallible. You can make mistakes. And so, the good leader is a person who accepts his mistakes and apologizes, regardless of the person he has offended. And then, you also recognize people's efforts. Everybody is putting in doing something to help you achieve your objectives. And so when they do it, just recognize, thank you for doing what you have done. And once you recognize their efforts, they also will be willing to work for you. And then enable people to believe in themselves. That is why we say that you need to ensure they possess other characteristics. As a leader, even if the people's morale is down, if the people have low self-esteem, if the people lack courage, it is your duty to inspire. That's why I say you inspire. That is why I say you stimulate. Once you inspire and you stimulate, they even what they have and they don't know that they have, they will begin to recognize them and then they will use them to help you. If you are unable to inspire, you're unable people to believe in you, there's nothing that you can do, because the people will not trust themselves, and you as a leader will sit down unconcerned. But once you help them to believe in themselves, they will work. It becomes evil. There's something called Pygmalion effect. It's that if a leader has confidence in the person and the leader shows that he has confidence in that employee develops that confidence and he works with it. Now, is leading important? We have said it is the heart of organizations. But then it is very, very important and challenging, because as a leader, we have said you must inspire. You must be able to motivate your people, not just with money, but the kind of words you use for them, the kind of confidence you build in them, the kind of things that you want them to do. Especially if you want them to help them to build their self-esteem, their self-efficacy, their cognition. You inspire them. You instill in them that desire to achieve. In fact, what McClellan called the need for achievement. If you inspire them by doing it for them to observe, you inspire them and they also do it. So as I says, you need to coach them. In fact, Mary Parker says that it is better that you enable your people to develop the skill that they have. Once they develop the skill, they will be willing to work for you. Affect their morale. And it means that you need to create that enabling environment, an environment that is innovative and that inspires initiative, And then that stifles initiative. If you give them the chance to work, in other words, delegating, and then involving them, it means that they will also learn how to be on their own, because you have boosted their morale. You have made them to feel that they are part of you, and therefore they will work to achieve for you. And then you should share information. A leader who sits on information is sitting on a time bomb. If the people don't know what is happening in the organization, they will assume anything. That is why grapevine begins to develop. Rumors begin to develop. But if you share information and people are clear in their minds, their conscience is clear that things are right in the organization, they feel free, there is no there is no conflict, there is nothing, and they want to work for you. Then once the bottom line of every organization is what? What's the bottom line? It means that achieving the results, satisfying your customer. That is the basic objective of the organization. And so once you lead, you affect morale, you communicate, you inspire, the people are able to work to achieve customer satisfaction. Characteristics of a manager, and the right is that of a leader. So if you look at the first box, says managers issue orders and directs. Leaders inspire, appeal, and influence. It means that the manager, the leader, yes, will want people to work, but they don't impose themselves, whereas the manager will try to impose and let people feel that I am the boss. The second one says management is regarded as relating to people working within the structured organization and with prescribed roles. But that does not necessarily take place within the organizational structure of the organization. Many leaders operate without their roles ever being clearly defined. And so a manager, the management work of a manager, we can say is restricted to an organizational setting. And then people perform certain roles, and so he provides the direction. But leadership can happen outside. For instance, we can have a leader of a team who may not necessarily have any prescribed role, but then the members themselves have appointed him or her as a leader, and he leads them. And so managers tend to adopt impersonal or partiality towards goals. In that, what it means is that managers want they have that kind of relationship that is impersonal. They don't look at your social aspect. The social life of organization is not as important to them as the official life. And so over there, it is strictly official. But under the leadership, they try to understand the person they are dealing with, the person's emotions, the person's attitudes, and then they become part. In other words, they say they are empathetic, and therefore they identify with the employee, and then they work with the employee. So then the fourth one says, in the relations with other people, managers maintain a low level of emotional involvement. They don't identify with the people, but the leader identifies with the people. And then a leader develops. Yes, he wants to equip you. That's why I say he inspires, he influences, he stimulates. But the manager wants to maintain. He doesn't want to develop. He wants you to see you as he saw you from the beginning. And therefore, if you become useless in a way, let's say like if you become, he may need you at a certain point. If he doesn't need you, you can dispense with your services. But a leader doesn't fear you. He wants you to also come up so that you can be on your own. And then a leader also focuses on people. In other words, all my work is focused on you. I want to see your social aspects. I want to bring back the social aspect of work. And then, whereas the manager will want to make sure that the system and structure must work. However, as I said earlier, the two depend on people to achieve organizational goals, but then they adopt different approaches. Whereas the leader is people-centered, the manager is organization-centered. I want my results. But then, as for the leader says, I want results, but I need to also recognize your interest. The overall role for course work is to ensure that the plans are achieved. But then there's one thing that we also need to understand, that to be successful, either as a manager or a leader in an organization, you need to have both. A manager needs to be a leader, and a leader needs to be a manager. If you lead if you're a manager, if you're in management, you must have leadership qualities and at the same time managerial qualities, so that when you blend the two, then you are able to achieve results efficiently and successfully. That's why we say that a successful business owner must be both a strong leader and a strong manager as well. Now, in contemporary leadership, we have different forms of leaders with different motivations. The first one we want to look at is transactional leadership. And then this type of leader leads and rewards based on performance. In other words, he is focused on a particular goal. Yes, he is going to inspire, he is going to lead, but whatever motivation is given is based on your performance. Achieving results is the ultimate goal. And then they punish if there's a mistake. And so this type of leader believes in give me, I give you, give and take principle. That principle, when we say social exchange or principle of reciprocity, give me, and the measure you give me is the same measure I give you. And so that's what I said, then they provide contingent rewards. When you say contingent rewards, it means it is rewards based on performance. And as such, when they want to reward you, they are rewarding you because they have recognized that you've achieved a certain number, a certain goal. And so they can give you bonuses, they can give you pay rise, they can give you rewards. And this is based on your performance. Then we have transformational leadership. It occurs when a leader transforms or changes her followers in 4 important ways that together enable followers to trust the leader and put up behaviors that contribute to the achievement of organizational goals. This leader has certain motivation. I want to bring you on board. I want to do certain things because I want the overall organizational success and your success as well. And therefore, the first approach was that leader tries to inspire you. Here, it is not only reward that is going to give him, but then he creates a vision for an organization and communicate that vision to you. He wants to bring you on board. So the vision is there. This belongs to all of us. Let us, all of us, work to achieve it. And then the leader also tries to promote intelligence and then careful problem solving. He doesn't think that I am the only person solving a problem. All of us are involved. And so he provides leadership and training. That's why I say he stimulates, he develops you, and further you become intelligent and can contribute to organizational success. And then he gives you attention. That we know that we are different in organizations. And one of the things that most leaders face is workforce diversity. And so the leader must have, or the transformational leader will try to focus attention on people and treat them as individuals. That is not easy though. Not easy, it is difficult. But once you understand each person as they are, you don't make the mistake of bunching them together and treating them the same way, talking them to the same way. Because different people have different emotional stability. And therefore, if you see them as individuals and you treat them as individuals, for example, if a person has a problem and you call a person to your office and you try to talk to the person, find out what the person is doing, what he is doing, that person feels that, yes, this is a leader who believes in my growth and therefore I will work. But Maslow has something called growth orientation, where he said that you focus on the person's strength and even try to ensure that the person's weaknesses are developed so that the person becomes a complete person. And the leader is willing to sacrifice for the good of the group. He acts as a role model, displaying high ethical standards. Yes, I'm with you. It does not mean that he doesn't believe in hard work like the transactional leader. He believes in them, but then he wants them his people to see who he is and then to know that he identifies with them and he's there to ensure that their good is what he wants to achieve. And that's why once people realize that you are in for them and you are not in because of a selfish interest as a leader, they also identify with you and they work with you. Now, there's another thing I want to look at is power and leadership influence. There is leadership influence in any organization. Leadership influences will be dependent upon the type of power that the leader can exercise over the followers. Now, we have power, we have authority. Different people will use different forms of power. Different people will use different means to influence their people. And when this happens, how you influence them will determine how they react to you. The essence of power is a social process which helps to explain how different people can influence the behavior of others. And so it's a social process because of the fact that we interact. And once we interact, I'm seeking to influence you, but how that is done, determines how you react. And then there are 5 main sources of power. We have reward power, we have coercive power, legitimate power, referent power, and expert power. Reward power is based on the perception that the leader has the ability and resource to obtain rewards for those who comply with directives. In other words, I want to influence you with pay, promotion, praise, recognition, and what have you. And so this is the source of, if this is how I want to influence you, it is good, but sometimes when it happens, if it doesn't come, the people don't see the influence, or they don't respond to the type of influence that you are trying to have over them. And so you need to measure to ensure that that influence doesn't go into the people's head for them to say that anytime I do something good, something will come. So there's someone to perceive that that's what the leader does. And so anytime they are working, they are waiting for any of these things. Then we have coercive power. It's a power that is based on fear. And the subordinate's perception that the leader has the ability to punish or bring about undesirable outcomes for those who do not comply with directives. Yes, there are also leaders who will think that do before complain. And so once I've given the instructions, you must work. And in this case, the people perceive, as for this man, if you don't do, he'll punish you. That's their belief. And so it says the leader can use this form. Pay rise can be withheld, promotions can be withheld. There will be no, there will be undesirable duty. Maybe transferring you to an obscure, a job that is not attractive, or even withdrawing from you, and then they can even they can dismiss you, they can query you, they can suspend you, you can do all kinds of things. And so yes, these ones are there, but then when the people perceive you in this form, they also think that they associate you with punishment, and therefore anytime you are not there, they don't want to work. They work because you are there. Then we have legitimate power. It is power. It is based on fear, and the subordinate's perception that the leader has a right to exercise influence because of the leader's role or position in the organization. Yes, here it is a power that has been given to the organization to the leader by the organization, and so the people know that yes, he has the power to influence because he has been empowered. Let's say by a constitution. Let's say by a rule. By a convention, this person can do this. And so they perceive it, and then they accord you that kind of respect. So legislative power is based on authority, and authority is derived from either a written constitution or something that is accepted by everybody. So it is based on the role of the leader in the organization and not on the nature of the personal relationship with others. Yes, it is because I sit on that chair, I sit on that seat, and therefore my influence or my power must be recognized. It is legitimate. But if as soon as I leave that office, I leave that power there, and whoever assumes that position is given that legitimate power. Then we have the reference power, which is based on the subordinate identification with the leader. Now, this is why these days, this and age, people want to sing the praises of a leader. They want to identify with the leader. And that can be dangerous at times, because sometimes when the moment you seek to identify, the person can begin to do all kinds of things. And it is based on perhaps the leader's attractiveness, the leader's personal characteristics, the leader's reputational charisma. But when we talk about charisma, it is something that is inspired by divine, let's say by a spirit or by God. And so it might not be bad per se, but if I have a personal trait and you want to emulate me, you want to see me as a role model, yes, you can identify with me. If you want to identify because of my reputation, you also get the same reputation, yes, fine. Because of my charisma, because it inspires obedience and what have you, fine. But it should not be on the basis that I want some kind of position in the organization, so I'm going to identify with you and get what I want. So, for instance, a manager may not be in a position to reward or punish someone, but may still exercise power over someone because the manager commands their respect or esteem. Yes, there are people in organizations who may not have any form of authority, but the person has standing. The person appears before people, and the people respect, and they accept him as somebody who must be respected, and then he is able to influence them. If they are trying to engage in even something, what they do is that because the person is there, the person comes up before them and tells them what they're supposed to do, they stop and do it. Then we have expert power. That is based on person that a leader is someone who is competent and who has some special knowledge or expertise in a given area. As an HOD, as a supervisor, you need to be competent. In fact, competency is one thing that can even enable or make your employees to be committed to you. If they know that you are competent in your area, they begin to identify with you. They begin to think that your influence must be respected or your power must be respected. For example, if the person is credible, if the person has knowledge in the area that he is the leader, that person commands respect and people listen to him when he talks. Thank you for listening to the third unit.